Right, so I made it onto the bus in time. I think they go every 15 minutes or so all day long. So yeah, I think this takes us out to the launch pads and shows us, well, I'm about to find out.
Now, in just a few minutes, we're going to go into a restricted area. That's why I have these credentials here to help you folks get in. And you're welcome to take pictures of everything you can see up here, except for one. There's always got to be one, right? As we go into our restricted area, we're going to be going through a main security gate. And the security guards there would like you not to take their picture. I'm going to go ahead and buckle up, and then we'll get going.
Wow, I'm on a bus at NASA.
N.A.S.A is the most powerful rocket in history and has an evolvable design that ranges from 321 to 384 feet tall, depending on mission requirements. This rocket will someday help NASA to reach its goal of human exploration of Mars. The large tower next to the VAB is the mobile launcher being built for SLS. When completed, it will carry the massive launch vehicle on top of the crawler transporter to pad 39B. We will learn more about the launch of SLS when we get to the launch pad.
You're visiting the center at a very exciting time. Since the end of the space shuttle program, none of it would have been possible without the forging commercial partnerships. Modern.
Second recording on the bus near the big building.
That American flag up there is 21 stories tall. Each one of the stars on that flag are 6 feet from point to point. And the stripes on that flag, they are so wide that if I could drive this bus up and down any one of those stripes. Now, if you've ever been to a basketball game, the blue section alone is the size of an NBA basketball court. Matter of fact, that building is so big, yeah, we could put the old Yankee Stadium on the roof of that building and still have an acre left over for parking. It is so cavernous inside that if we could disassemble the Empire State Building, we could get 3.5 Empire State Buildings inside there. It is the tallest one-story building in the world. And the 6th largest one-story building by volume. Now, we do have another giant thing I'd like to point out for you folks. We have a giant vehicle here, about the size of a building, with some rusty-looking tank-like tracks on it over here on the right-hand side. That is called the Crawler Transporter, and that is the giant vehicle that we use to move around the Apollo rockets and the space shuttles here on the property. Now, the Crawler Transporters, we actually have 2 of them, and I'm going to show you another one of them a little later in the tour. But our Crawler Transporters, they weigh about 6 million pounds. And they can carry 3 times that much weight. It actually has a surface area on the top of it about the size of a baseball infield. Now, if you look straight ahead and off to the right, you'll see there's a large gray square platform up in the air on top of the pillars. That is called a mobile launch platform, and that's from the Space Shuttle program. And the Crawler Transporter here is designed to climb up underneath that giant platform, pick up all 8 million pounds of it, carry it into the vehicle assembly building, where inside there they can go ahead and put the space shuttle on top of this giant platform. Now after they finish doing all of that, then the crawler transporter will take the space shuttle 3.5 miles out to the launch pad so that they can launch the space shuttle. Now as we get a little closer to this platform here, I'd like you to look up underneath of it, and you're going to see 3 large holes. That's where the flame blast comes out at. 2 smaller holes are where the solid rocket booster's flame blast comes out at, and the larger hole, that's where the 3 main shuttle engines flame blast comes out at. Now this big ball thing here on the shell of trailer is very impressive looking. However, that is just a test weight. We use that inside the vehicle assembly building to test the cranes before we start playing with rockets. Now up ahead here we have this really tall tower in front of us. This is called the Mobile Launcher Platform, and this is for our new space launch system. And yes, the crawler transporter is going to pick up all 10 million pounds of this platform. Now this tower is 390 feet tall from the ground all the way up. And we're going to put the equivalent of a moon rocket and some solid rocket boosters on this thing. Now once we finish building our new space launch system, it'll be the most powerful rocket man has ever made. Now one of the things I think is neat about this mobile launch platform is that this is what's going to launch man out of Earth's orbit, finally, and in deep space. Shuttle clears
Start
the
recording.
tower. We hand it over to mission control. So now we're going to look into a great section of the vehicle assembly building facing the road that we're driving on. Those are the tallest doors in the world. 456 feet tall. Takes 45 minutes to open the door. And the door that's closest to us, that is called High Bay number 3. And they are currently modifying that bay there for our new space launch system. So that big tower back there, let's go through that door. Now we could actually slide the Statue of Liberty on her base through that door and still have 150 feet to clear the top of the door. Now you folks are you may have noticed we have a little bit of gravel here. This is called the Crawlerway, and this is basically the highway that takes our space shuttles out to the launch pad. Now this is equal to 8 lanes wide. And what this river rock does for us is because it's round and smooth, it acts like ball bearings for the giant crawler transporter as it goes over top of it. Also, this rock doesn't spark. It's kind of important when it comes to rockets. So the question is, where did the river rock come from? It actually comes from the Tennessee River in Alabama. Now, as we continue to look over here on the right-hand side, we're going to look out towards the trees over there, and you'll see there's a nice American flag waving over there. Right underneath that American flag, there is a dark blue box. That is our famous countdown clock. You know, 3, 2, 1. And that sits in front of our press area where reporters from all over the world come to report on our launches. So now we're going to head out to see a launch pad. Launch pad 39A. And I have a video here that'll tell you a little bit more about the history of launch pad 39A.
We are now approaching launch pad 39A. It was constructed for the Apollo program and is where all the 12 moonwalkers began their historic journeys. You'll learn more about the Apollo program when you get to the Apollo Saturn V Center.
next recording.
Two
So,
pieces. So the top square section that you see up there, that's another one of our mobile launch platforms from the Space Shuttle program, like the one you saw back there on top of those pillars. However, it is sitting on top of another one of our crawler transporters I promised to show you. This is how those two pieces actually come together. Now, our crawler transporters, they have diesel-powered generators on them that power the electric motors on each one of the tracks. And this thing here gets 32 feet to the gallon. Not too bad for a hybrid. Now, with the space shuttle on top of it going out to the launch pad, this thing does a whopping 1 mile an hour. That's okay, because empty on the way back, or races back at 2 miles an hour. Now, there are 8 giant tank-like tracks on this thing. Each one of them has 57 steel cleats. And believe it or not, each one of those cleats alone weighs 1 ton. So now we're going to look, I'm going to show you the active launch pads over at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. How we're going to do that is we're going to look straight ahead and then over to the right. On the other side of the water there, you'll see some towers on the far shore. That is Launch Pad 41, where United Launch Alliance launches their Atlas V rockets from. That tall, thin building there, that's where they build the Atlas V rockets at. As we continue to look along the shoreline, we'll see another set of towers over there. That is Launch Pad 40, where SpaceX was launching their Falcon 9 rockets from. And as we continue to look along the shoreline, you'll see one more tall, thin building there. It looks like it has horns on top of it. That is Launch Pad 37, where United Launch Alliance launches their Delta IV rockets from. So, like I mentioned, we're heading out to see Launch Pad 39A. That's out the distance in front of us there. And I have a video here that'll tell you a little bit more about what they're doing at that launch pad nowadays.
SpaceX is also building a crew capsule capable of carrying astronauts and launching crews to the International Space Station as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program. Another commercial provider to support NASA's crew transportation is Boeing. They named their capsule the CST-100. Like SpaceX, Boeing's capsule will begin flying to the station later this decade. They will launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station just a few months from here on a modified Atlas V rocket. With private industry stepping up to support low Earth orbit missions to the ISS, NASA can focus more heavily on deep space exploration, which you will learn about at Launch Pad 39B.
So Launch Pad 39A over here on the left-hand side, this was both an Apollo launch pad as well as a Space Shuttle launch pad. And SpaceX is currently modifying this launch pad for their new Falcon Heavy rocket. Now, SpaceX has a 20-year lease for this launch pad, and they're not going to be using that giant crawler transporter system you saw back there. No, they have built this building here in the middle of the crawler's pathway, and they're going to build their Falcon Heavy rocket horizontally in this building. Now, they have also installed a rail system that will help them move that rocket up to the top of the launch pad, and then once up there, they have a giant arm that will actually help them maneuver that rocket into vertical position. Now, do you folks remember that I mentioned that we were lightning capital of the United States? Well, if you look at the very top of the launch pad there, you'll see there's a white section up on the very top of there. That is called a lightning mask. And that lightning mask is how they protect this launch pad from lightning. And that lightning mask is just a little over 80 feet tall. Remember that rocket back at the security game? That was a little over 80 feet tall. That's right. We sent our first American up into space on a rocket no taller than just the white section at the very top of that tower there. Now, right underneath the lightning mask, the tall square section, that's called the fixed service structure. and that's from the Apollo program. And we've been recycling it all these years for the Space Shuttle program. And that is the section there that has the elevator in it that helps the crew and the astronauts get up to the Space Shuttle while it's on the launch pad. Now the gantry system just to the left of the fixed service structure, that is what's left of what's called the rotating service arm for the Space Shuttle program. SpaceX, they don't need that portion of it, so they've been working hard to take that portion of the launch pad down. Now, if you'd like to get another look at the launch pads over at Cape Canaveral Airport Station, and look over to the right, there they are. Now, we can't actually go over there because, well, that's an Air Force station. They're kind of picky about that kind of thing. But, like I mentioned, the launch pad that's closest to us there, that's launch pad 41. And we do things on a far different scale nowadays than we used to. And that is because we actually need bigger rockets with a bigger flame blast. We can get deeper into orbit. Speaking about deeper in orbit, we're going to head over to see launch pad 39B out there in the distance in front of us. I have a video here that'll tell you a little bit more about the history of that launch pad.
Nowhere else on N.A.S.A. is preparation for the future as obvious as at Launch Pad 39B. Built as an identical pad to 39A for the Apollo Saturn V rocket, Pad B was also updated for the Space Shuttle program. 53 shuttle missions launched from this pad, including 12 missions to help construct or resupply the space station. Today, the pad is being modified for the Space Launch System, or SLS. It will be used for NASA's deep space missions beyond Earth orbit, including the capture of an asteroid and, eventually, human exploration of Mars. 3 600-foot-tall masts were built near the pad to provide lightning protection to the vehicles prior to launch.
And on to Mars.
Big one.
Now, if you notice, this launch pad doesn't have any gantry system on top of it. They removed all of that, then they added these towers around this launch pad. Now, they're calling this launch pad a clean launch pad. The reason why is because they can launch any rockets from this launch pad now. It doesn't have to be a specific space launch system or space shuttle. It can be any rocket as long as it has its own mobile launch platform.
The first SLS mission carrying a crew aboard the Orion spacecraft is set to launch on a 3-week trip to orbit the moon to demonstrate the capabilities necessary for NASA to conduct an asteroid retrieval mission. SLS vehicles will evolve to support human deep space missions, in addition to robotic missions and astronomical observatories. In the past, such missions have been limited by the size and capabilities of existing rockets. The SLS payload
Level at the same time.
Beginning of recording.
Minor detail, but I always thought that
At
was
the big pad. Putting on a.
That water tower there. That water tower, that holds 300,000 gallons of water. All the pipework going up to the launch pad holds another 100,000 gallons of water. They will put all 400,000 gallons of water on the launch pad in 35 seconds. That's not too bad, right? Now you think they'd use that water to control the heat, right? That makes sense. No, they use that water to control the sound. Now the sound waves of the space shuttle engines are deadly. And they don't want those sound waves coming back and damaging the space shuttle engines taking off. So, you know, as you're watching
only mission that anything ever done.
I believe that people still look to NASA and the United States for leadership in space. It takes courage and resolve and commitment. And when we leave Earth to explore our solar system, it will not be as any one nation or culture, but as citizens of Earth for all of humanity.
Now up here on the right, alongside the road, there's a red trailer with a white rocket-looking type thing on top of it. That is our new launch abort system for the Orion capsule. And how that works is that goes right on top of our new space launch system. And if anything happens during launch, that'll be able to immediately take the Orion capsule a mile away, and it'll be able to parachute down safely. Now, if you look down the road to the right, you'll see there's a blue building that says Boeing on it. That's where Boeing's working on their new Starliner capsule. NASA has contracted with 2 private companies to be able to take astronauts up to the International Space Station. And Boeing is going to be one of them. They're going to use that Starliner capsule, put that on top of an Atlas V rocket, launching from Launch Pad 41. Now, the other company we saw out there, SpaceX, they have what they call the Dragon capsule. They're going to put on top of their new Falcon Heavy rocket. Now, currently, it's the Russians doing the job for us with their very reliable Soyuz rocket at a cost of a little over $80 million a trip. Now, up here on the right, we have these 2 cube-shaped looking buildings. These are called the Orbiter Processing Facilities. And these are basically the hangars for the Space Shuttle. And how that works is after the Space Shuttles land here at the Kennedy Space Center, we will then go ahead and tow the Space Shuttles into these buildings here on the right. Inside there, they will go ahead and unload the payload bank. They will inspect the heat tiles and replace any necessary heat tiles in there. That whole process takes about 4 months. Then they'll take the Space Shuttle back inside the vehicle assembly building and put it on top of a mobile launch platform. Now, we do have the ability to land the Space Shuttle here at the Kennedy Space Center. And up here on the left, we have a road coming out. And at the other end of the road is what's called the Shuttle Landing Facility. So after the Space Shuttle lands here at the Kennedy Space Center, we will then tow the Space Shuttle down that road there as we tow it over to the Orbiter Processing Facility. Now, the Shuttle Landing Facility happens to have one of the longest runways in the world. And now that we've retired the Space Shuttle program, and a special display case that is designed so that if you would like to touch that moon rock, you're welcome to do so. Check that out. And just to remind you, we do have a cafe here if you're interested in a bite to eat. Now, as we get a little closer to the Saturn V Center, you're going to be looking for a pair of silver doors. And you're going to be going through those doors and they have some shows for you to enjoy. Now, after you finish seeing the shows, and you're going to go through the main exhibit